Dennis. Good evening, everybody. Nice to be here once again. And just for relevance, this track is shorter by 100 meters than what the old Zwartkops circuit used to be, and pretty much the same layout. So interesting to see two straights with a loop at either end of those two straights. So, except I think there's a lot more hills and valleys than what Zwartkops had, basically the drive-in in the days of old. But there are quite a few uphills and downhills, which always make a circuit interesting.
Apologies to everyone, I've just realized my microphone has been muted. So hope you all worked out what is happening. This, of course, is round 9, so welcome to round 9. Better late than never, as my principal used to say.
Yeah, and we're all here because we're not all there.
Yes.
With a tap against the temple.
Yeah, this particular circuit I think is fantastic. Our lap times across the board are extremely close. We've got currently first place to 12th place covered by 1.7 seconds. In 12th place we have Stan Bezadnot, and in first place Jason Underwood at the moment. But I expect the lap times to be extremely close in the races, and the racing to be even closer. I've done races on this particular circuit in the official servers for this particular sim, and it was, from my experience, one of the best sim experiences I've had. The racing was extremely close. The nature of the circuit just kept you guys together. It just makes for very, very fun racing.
Interesting to see that Matty in second position. I think as we went live, I think it was Matty that spun the black car with a bit of yellow. And
about to get pole.
Is that a fact? So he's got
just missed out.
Personal best, I should imagine. So he just missed out, but he's brought it down to 0.057. So less than 0.1 of a second behind Jason Underwood. So really, the top two are very, very close. Actually watched a very interesting YouTube video clip about Max Verstappen, that he's also regarded as one of the top. Not only is he the Formula 1 champion of the world, he's also regarded as one of the top sim racers worldwide. And he goes in to explain what he does differently in a sim, and how you read the car in the sim, and the changing conditions, and what you tune in for. There's the Flying Bumblebee, just to see where that is. Currently he's in 5th position, and he's 0.34 seconds behind Jason Underwood, who's in pole. So interesting to see that even, at the finish of the last Grand Prix, they say that 3 hours later, Max Verstappen was on some sim racing somewhere in the world. So that they even have the time and the energy after something as the Canadian Grand Prix to go sim racing thereafter.
Yeah, it's amazing how much time and effort gets put into the racing. Of course, to a racer, whether it's a sim or reality, it's still racing. So you approach it with the same mentality, and if you do, then it's beneficial to both. Both benefit the other.
What they do say about him, though, is if you take circuits that have walls very close to the edge of the track, like Monaco as an example, he's probably one of the guys that goes the closest to the wall every single lap. They say he's so consistent that it's actually boring, his consistency. And that goes into the thing that we've been saying a lot in commentary, is that you have to finish first, but also, that he's using every single centimeter available to him on the track to be able to get into and out of corners to his best advantage. So yeah, interesting to see that a guy spends time sim racing for fun and Formula 1 racing for a living.
Yeah. Just watching a lap with Matty now, he's coming into turn 2, so as you go down the crest of turn 1, it drops quite dramatically. Then there's a nice tight hairpin right, then you'll do a hairpin, well, not quite a hairpin, but quite a sharp left, then you'll do a sort of an S, and then there's the final long sweeping right hand onto the main straight, and that's the circuit. It's that short.
Yeah, it's over in a flash, as we say. It's 52 seconds that Jason Underwood, almost 53, which in these cars is quicker than what the old Zwartkops. But as I said, it's 100 meters. There's the pit entrance we've just gone past. As you say, that sweeping right-hander, and there you enter the straight. And that's a lap. around this track, but certainly a very interesting track. And I think even though it's only 20 minutes, we're probably going to see about 21 laps or thereabouts. It's very tight, and I think you're going to be working. There's no time to relax. You're going to be working hard at keeping this car on track and keeping everybody else behind you. Here's that S that Dennis mentioned. Certainly nice, the double change of direction, and then you go into a long sweeping right-hander. That's Melt van Aarde. And where does Melt find himself? He's in 8th position. We have a field of 14 cars this evening.
There's actually 15. One hasn't done a time yet, and I saw another was trying to join, so was having an issue. As you can see in the comments, we have Andre Hildebrand in the comments, so he won't be driving tonight. Unfortunately, he's injured, so hopefully you get well soon, Andre. We're missing you. So Andre will be back, I'm sure, as he's all good. And then there are a couple of drivers that couldn't make it. Timo Smith, for example, couldn't make it tonight. He will be back for the final round next week. So we'll have Timo back then, and I'm not sure how many of the others. Yandre Dupinar's had issues coming in. I could see he was trying to come in and out. He hasn't got in. I'm not sure if he'll still get in or not. But there are a couple of drivers that are missing. Hopefully for the final round we'll have a good end of season.
Right, and qualifying, as we've said before, it doesn't wait for the last car to finish that lap that car. If the time is up, as the time expires, then whether you finish the lap or not, that's the end of qualifying. What we didn't mention, bonus points for qualifying. For first, second and third position, you get 35, 32 or 30 points added. And we've seen in previous championships when there are bonus points at play. And this one, I think the gap between first and second is less than a race win. So if you've been consistently qualifying in the top 3, then that might make a difference when it gets to the end of the day. So certainly worth trying to be the top 3 at the moment. Jason Underwood, Matty Renan and Sean Williford.
Just watching Rian come across the line now. He actually slightly improved, but not enough to gain a place. But still currently 7/10 off the lead. Harvey Price also been looking quite good in the practice sessions. He was actually running 10th going into the final practice, which meant he would be, if he were to finish there, he would finish enough to take pole for race 2. So that's quite an achievement for Harvey. That would be great to see.
Yeah, and he's not too far behind 10th place. So they've got about 0.1 somewhat between themselves. So Harvey might still make it up to 10th position with 5.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session.
And of course, we do have Caroline Joost here, the partner of Yandre Dupinar. Yandre is having issues, but Caroline is still in, so good to see Caroline is able to at least carry on, unless Yandre decides to kick her out, take over. But at the moment, Caroline is driving, and on a personal best as well. Let's see what time she can come across the line with. She's slowly been improving as well, very steady improvement, which is the main thing, is that you keep improving. Comes up to line. What does her lap time improve to? She was 3.3 off. Not sure why it doesn't reflect straight away. Did look like she improved.
Another couple of drivers to mention is the Benz family. Jonathan in 4th place and Emily in 6th. And they've been swapping around. Jonathan has gotten past, I always forget the name, Deploy.
Deploy's about to improve though. He's on a good lap.
So that might change back again, is Mornay. I was going to say Marius, but I knew it was wrong. So Mornay Deploy, let's see if he can get past Jonathan.
Up to 4th. Just past.
Back up to 4th. So it's chopping and changing every time they go past the finish line with just over 4 minutes to go. So Jonathan into 5th, Emily in 6th, and the gap between them is 0.7 of a second if I do my maths quickly. So Emily also doing well in her silver and blue car. One tries to remember them, that you can actually commentate on the car on site. The ones that are difficult are the white and red cars, because there's quite a few of them. But nonetheless, Emily is pedaling along very merrily and doing quite well. She's ahead of Gerrit by 0.03 of a second. So the Flying Bumblebee is in 7th, would you believe? And the lady is actually showing him the way around by 0.03 of a second. So it still has 3.5 minutes in qualifying. So everything to play for still. And the names of the teams, Emily races for JTR Motorsport Engineering, as I'm sure also does Jonathan. So interesting to see the two of them. Just want to see 1, 2, 3, 4. They're going to be next to each other on the start line as well as things proceed at the moment. Here comes Julian Brains. He's in 10th position.
And
Let's
I
see
think
if
he won't lose that because all the drivers further down have now abandoned their laps and there's no time left to go out. Well, mind you, they could probably go out just one lap, being such a short lap.
Yeah, it's 3 minutes and they're doing a lap in less than a minute. So you could probably still go out. Here comes Gerrit. And to differentiate between him and where's he gone now? He's dropped down from where he was. In fact, no, Matty is still in second place. Him and Matty have similar cars, but Matty's car is black with a bit of yellow and Gerrit is yellow with a bit of black.
And he improves up to 5th.
So right, he has now got rid of the Benz family and they drop down to 6th and 7th position. So they'll be staggered on the grid, I think.
And speaking of them, here's Emily. She's on a personal best in Sector 1.
She's been very much in the top 10 throughout the series. And as I say, lucky for some, they could go on leave. Unlucky for the racing. They gave up the points for the races that they were away. But certainly forced to be reckoned with in some racing.
And a driver that's doing well tonight, Malt van Aarde. We missed him last week. He wasn't here last week. But currently in 8th place. Let's see, is he going to improve? Personal best in Sector 1.
Jonathan's popped up to 4th. So that's a swap again. Let's see what Malt does. Malt's in the light blue car with the white stripe down the middle.
All right, let's go on board with Jonathan. This is around turn 2. Let's see, can he improve? It's a personal best in Sector 1.
This will probably be his last lap, as I explained how qualifying works. I think he used too much curb there, and it spat him up out to the far outside of the corner, of the next corner.
Yeah, it looked like he lost a bit of momentum, yeah. It's still up though. He could actually get P2 with this, potentially. He's taken the wide line. I think he's lost a bit of speed there. You need to try and keep that tight on these cars. They actually turn tight, you seem to gain a bit more of a slingshot than if you go wide and cut it back. It just doesn't have enough time to catch up what you think it might work, and you see there he loses 2/10 in the final sector.
Yeah, so he's pretty much, and there's qualifying done. I thought there was actually a little bit more time, but it probably works out that the next cars that are to cross the line won't make it out for another lap. So Matty Renane for a second position, well qualified. Jason Underwood showing everybody a clean set of heels by 0.155. Matty the next closest. Morne de Ploo, well done, sir. 3rd position. Sean Olivier, Jonathan Benz, Gerrit Beekes, then Emily Benz. So Gerrit did get past Emily. Emily in 7th. Malt van Aarde in 8th. Julian Brains, Rian van der Westhuizen, Johan Beekes in 11th place. We didn't give Johan a mention. Sorry about that. Javi Gous, we did mention he got 12th. Rudy van der Westhuizen in 13th. Stan Besaidnout in 14th. And Caroline Jooster in 15th place.
And we'll be back shortly for race 1. Right, welcome back everybody. This of course is the Sim Experience SA 2024 Mazda MX5 Cup, brought to you by the Safe Boys. This is race 1 from round 9. This is Brands Hatch INDY circuit. Race 1, it's a 20-minute race. Our drivers have qualified for this race. Of course the drivers will then finish, and whatever the top 10 position finishing will be, that will get reversed for race 2 for another 20-minute race. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, and I'm joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening and welcome everybody to Brands INDY circuit. I'm not sure if everybody had made it to the grid. Just did a quick head count and it looked as though 1 or 2 cars were missing. Hopefully they will make it to the grid. It's just how many points you score. Are they away for the race?
Right, and off we go.
Right, so this Jason just has a clean set of heels, and Matty Renan, Sean Willifeed, and behind them, and I always get his deploy's name wrong, Jonathan Benz is up to 4th. Emily, I think, has dropped down to 7th, because I think she was 6th. Karit Bierkus is up into 6th position. I think that's where he qualified though, but certainly good position for Matty Renan, but I think he's potentially holding up the 3 cars behind him, and that means that Jason Underwood is showing them the way to go around this track all on his own, leading by 1.5 seconds only after a few turns. So turn up for the books there.
These battles are extremely close. Look at them going side by side there. Around the outside, I believe that's Monet Duplo on the outside of Bierkus,
with Emily right behind the 2 of them.
and of course Jason just pulling away in the front. There's a bit of a gap to second, and then there's a bit of a fight going on for third, and then there's a bit of a fight going on here all the way back. So a nice fight's going on. Oh, Rion getting a bit of a slide on the curb there, but keeping it nice and tight. Looking up the inside.
You can't blink because then the lap is over, but it looks certainly as though Emily Benz has got a good lap in because she's got 1 position back. Gerrit has a good start, he's got up to 5th, but those 4 cars behind Gerrit, it's Gerrit, Emily, Deploy, and it's Adrian van der Westhuizen. Those 4 cars are very, very close. Here you see them now, and I think this is the view out of the green car of Julian Brains. He looks at them from behind, and it's stunning viewing. What a great circuit this is. Very busy, very quick. But Jason Underwood all 2 seconds already ahead of Matty, and that's with 2 laps completed, I think it is now. So yes, 2 minutes will be 2 laps, and that's allowed Jason to really get the pedal down and just concentrate on his own race and get rid of the pack behind him. Now there's a challenge. Sean Willifeed having a look up on the inside of Matty Renan. Is he going to make the pass? If he's on the outside, we can get the nose ahead, but he decides to tuck him behind him, and then it's the left-hander, but Matty just covers that line completely, although he drifts out a little bit wide on exit of the circuit. Remember with this simulator again, if you abuse track limits, you get a warning, you've got to do a slowdown, and if somebody is close enough behind you, then that slowdown might mean that you can lose a position. So not only do you have to be quick, you have to drive neat as well.
Yeah, being such a small circuit, it also means you've got to sort of try and drive patiently while being aggressive, if that makes any sense, because the circuit it's so short. There's basically five corners. The lap is over so quickly, so you plan for a move in a certain corner. When that goes, you kind of just wait for the next lap. So okay, I'll wait for the next minute and then I'll do it again. Oh, we see a bit of contact there. Sean Willifeed.
He had a look, and there's quite a big, I think it's Emily, was that Emily's car? Yeah, Emily Benz, Deploy, Richard van der West, he was also involved. So Sean Willifeed was way up in the top, has now dropped, well, he's coming back again, but he's in 11th position. Jonathan, or Jason, my name's right, Johan Bierkus in 12th position. Harvey goes down to 13th, and Caroline Jooster, I think, managed to avoid all of that. That, I think, Sean Willifeed just got the slightest of touches on the back of, I'm not sure, was it Matty's car? So Jonathan managed to avoid all of that, but the big loser in that was Emily Benz, and she's a second behind Julian Brains. A big winner was Julian Brains, and I was talking about him looking at the 4 cars ahead of him, and then those 4 cars were involved in that scrap, and he managed to, by the looks of it, just miss all of them. So a lot of positions being, or all of the drivers that were involved in that are trying to make those positions back again. It looks as though 1 or 2 cars are a little bit damaged. They're not going exactly where I think the drivers are pointing in the direction that they should be going. Sean Olivier might be overdriving the car now because he's so far down, but he has made it back up to what's that 11th position. So that's just the way racing goes. You just get the slightest touch on the car ahead of you. He didn't actually have the nose ahead, so the car ahead of him had the right to claim the corner, and that's just many positions lost in one corner where maybe we held it, but maybe the sky falls on our head, then maybe we'll all have blue caps tomorrow. There's another touch there, and that's difficult to differentiate because it's again the red and white car, or the white cars with a dash of red in them. That's Morne Deploy, and who's he got that he's fighting it out with, and who's caught up to him?
I think it's Rudy van der Westhuizen and it's Sean Olivier right behind them.
Yeah, so Morne Deploy, Sean Olivier, and there they hold the line and then get out of the slipstream completely and try and go into the left-hander ahead, which I think he's done beautifully. But then it sweeps right again. So I think the car that's behind them now is that Stan Bessenet or from Westhuizen. He's lost a position. They seem to have swapped around the two white and red cars. So as we look forward from Sean Olivier's car, Sean's back up to 9th, but a long way still to go. He's wanting to go out to the inside of there, but I think the natural thing would be for... Okay, that's Emily. She's way ahead of the both of them. That's Morne's car. That's ahead of Sean Olivier. So I think he just has to look up on the inside and gets past. So a change for position there. Sean Olivier up into 8th. And now the long piece of road that he's got to aim at is to get up to Emily Benz. But I think Emily, if I have a quick look, she's up to 7th, and she's 2.5 seconds ahead of Sean Olivier. So with only 13 3/4 minutes to go, it's going to be a question, will he be able to catch up to Emily, who only has how far is she behind? 0.7 of a second behind Julian Brains. So that's going to be an interesting race as well, to see whether the lady can attack the green car of Julian Brains.
And at the moment we're just watching the battle at the back. We have Harvey Coates and Jan Beekers having a really nice battle. I've just been watching the times going red, yellow as they get closer and further apart from each other. Well, then Jan made a bit of a move there and got his nose cut off slightly, so the gap grew slightly again, but it's now just over a second. They're having a nice battle though.
Who's falling off here? Julian Brains. I wonder what happened to him as he drops down the leaderboard. That will mean, was it Emily that was behind him? Has Emily moved up a position? So certainly interesting racing in the top and the bottom halves of the fields. So Emily's up to 6th, and she's only 0.8 of a second behind Van der Westhuizen, who's in 5th position. So that's Rudy, I think it is. So Julian Brains falls all the way down into 13th. Now, whether there was a touch or whatever happened there, I don't know, because we weren't looking at that pair of cars at the time when that happened. What's nice about this, it's not the lap scoring monitor, but it just shows a graphic in the top left, who's where, and when something like that happens, then you see the number illuminating yellow, and you can see that it's dropping down the leaderboard. So something happened to Julian Brains, and Emily has taken up 6th position behind Rudy van der Westhuizen. Gerrit Beekers is up into 4th, Jonathan Benz in 3rd, Matty Renone, I think he's got, I don't think he's given it up, but Jason Underwood has just shown everybody had a demon start. He's got 3 seconds ahead of Matty. Matty is another 3.2 seconds ahead of Jonathan. Jonathan's 1.5 seconds ahead of Gerrit, who's 3.4 seconds ahead of Rudy. The battle that's on is Emily to Rudy. Whether she's going to be able to make a difference, we'll have to wait and see, but certainly that's where the battle is, just looking further down. Morne Deploy is only 0.3 of a second behind Sean Olivier. So that's also a battle worth watching.
And they're not far behind Emily Benz as well, just over 2 seconds. So anything can happen.
Yeah, with the two of them fighting each other, the chances are that Emily, I wouldn't say is safe, but with 11, that's more than half race distance. So it's very, very busy. And as we've seen before, one slight incident can cause a total shake-up of the race driver sequence. And it has done this race already. And there's Rian van der Westhuizen in 5th position. but 3.8 seconds behind Gerrit Beker. So Gerrit in fourth, and Gerrit 1.5 seconds behind Jonathan Benz, who's also first, second, and third, and fourth, and fifth. That seems to be pretty much done and dusted, unless somebody makes a big mistake. But then the one that's on is Emily, 1 second behind Rion, and that seems to be staying constant. I'm not sure whether she can change that setup at all, but everybody seems to be racing for just maintaining position at the moment. I didn't have a chance to look at the bottom of what's on the circuit to see. Oh, here's somebody very late on the brakes. I think that was
Julian Brains
in the green car. So whether it was intentional or not, or whether the other car was maybe a little bit early on the brakes and maybe did a bit too much, or alternatively has damage and contact, because here comes Julian. Certainly that car has a very good turn of speed, and it looks as though he's actually stayed out of his way and let him past. So that'll be interesting. Oh, there's a touch as well. And there's a spin for, was that Harvey's car that was involved in the spin there?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Yeah. So now Harvey's got to see whether he can stay ahead of Caroline. Caroline was quite a few seconds behind Harvey, but I think the gap is still 6 seconds. So Harvey now 5 seconds behind Johan Beekers, and Julian Brains settles in 11th position eventually.
Rudy van der Westhuizen having a nice battle here with Stan Bezade. It looks like Stan's actually having a good race tonight.
I think Stan qualified very low down, but he's had a better race than what he's had a qualifying session.
I think that's generally been the trend. He doesn't seem to do the greatest laps in qualifying, but he just, oh, there he goes off.
Two wheels. Yeah, if one replays that, you'll see two wheels on the grass. As you're turning onto the right-hander, that means you're leaning the car onto the left-hand side of the car, and if the wheels are on the grass, you've got no grips, and she will rotate.
And look who's just snuck through into 10th place, provisional pole position for race 2, Julian Brains.
Right, so if he can actually use this time just to better measure the circuit and where to do what, then the chances are he could have a demon second race starting from pole. Mornay Deploy is in 8th, and they're also onto the grass. Is it going to be a track limit warning? Because that was done without anybody forcing that car off the circuit. That was just over driving the car, so I don't see any penalty come up yet. Normally they're quite quick on the system when they do decide to make the penalty. And of course we have no control of that. It's decided by the system, the abuse of track limits. But I think in going slower, being on the grass, the system might have detected that he's going slow already and not give the penalty. So Mornay Deploy in 8th position has Sean Olivier ahead of him by only 0.2 of a second, and this could be where the change comes up. Left and right, outside, inside, and he's got his ticket on the outside, and we can see that Sean Williford has a better exit out of the corner, but for how long can he keep away this battle and keep that car behind him?
Yeah, this is extremely close, but this is what makes this circuit so fantastic, is it can go on like this the whole race.
Yeah, you see the brake lights come on, and I think the car behind maybe has a driving style that brakes later because he had to actually drift the car out to the left, I think, to avoid running into the car ahead of him. He did so successfully, but didn't lose. There's about a car's length between the two of them. You can see it looking back out of the one and looking forward out of the other. So certainly Emily is fighting for all she's worth, and Mornay Deploy, is he going to stay ahead? So we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know if it's just my imagination, but it seems like we have less track cuts tonight. Maybe it's just the nature of the circuit, or maybe everyone's just being a bit cautious. Maybe it's because it's a slightly shorter circuit, but we definitely don't see as many of the yellow flashes tonight.
I don't think we've seen one so far.
True.
Quite honest. Yeah, so there was the one where the whole car went off, but I think when the whole car goes off onto the grass like that, you really got to slow down. Otherwise, you're going to lose it, which is probably what happened and was detected as such by the system, and therefore no warning was issued because time had been given away already, and everybody just held onto their positions.
So you've got Emily up front, just a little bit ahead of Sean Olivier. You've got Mornay Deploy right behind. Now, I don't know if Mornay's maybe playing the smart game, just tagging onto the back of Sean, allowing them to catch up to Emily, because then they can both pinch, or maybe Emily and even Rian, because Rian's right in front of them as well.
Yeah, and if one considers if everything were to stay as it is now, then 1, 2, 3, 4, Emily will be 5th on the grid. So whether she finishes 6th or 5th in the race is not going to make that much of a difference in the grid for race 2. But for Mornay, and there goes Sean Olivier, he's managed to get past him already, so he's going to give up a grid position.
Oh, Emily's run wide onto the dirt.
Yeah, and gives up 2 positions to both of them. So from 6th to 8th, one foul swoop. As we were saying, you've got to stick to this racing line really, really well, because the circuit, if you go off, is unforgiving, and you've got to get off the throttle to be able to get back onto the circuit facing in the right direction. But still battle between Mornay and Sean there.
And Mornay's going left, going right, so Sean's having to defend, and he goes on the outside. Good racing.
Yeah, it certainly is. And they've got Rudy van der Westhuizen ahead of them. And although it's 1.3 seconds that Rudy's ahead of Sean Olivier, it's not much if you look at it here on circuit with 5 minutes still to go. So certainly it can be changed. But certainly that track confuses me. Every time they go past there, I expect them to go left, but that's not the way that the track runs. It runs to the right, and you sort of sit in the chair and you lean over to the other side and you say, no, but they're not going that way. So the graphics are good, and it certainly is a lot of fun watching this race. It is fast and furious all the time, but it looks as though Rian van der Westhuizen is trying all that he can, but Mornay Deploy is just holding on for dear life ahead of him. Here he's going to go on the outside because it's a right-hander coming up, and let's see if he can tuck in. He can't, because there's a car next to him. Now he might go for the slingshot round, but or there's a touch, or did they just hang back to avoid the collision? Because I think it doesn't make sense touching now. When you're so close to the end of the race, it'll make a difference of 1 starting position on the grid for race 2. But if you don't get the points in race 1, then it almost defeats the object of the exercise.
Caroline being passed already, so does Rian going past her. Hopefully she won't come into play, but that can always be an issue when you're busy in a battle and you come across a back marker that just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it just throws everything out. So let's see, how does this play out for everyone?
Does that all coming along now? And I think she's staying well out of their way. Well done.
Good thing to do, just drive your own race.
Yes, and don't do anything fancy, just stick to that side of the road, let them go past, and then even maybe learn a thing or two from the cars that have gone past you to see what racing lines they take through certain corners while you still have them in sight, because they certainly are disappearing ahead of Caroline.
Just to let everyone know, we do still have Jason Underwood in the race. He's out in front, just having a cup of tea off, doing his own thing in the meantime. And behind him, about 3.5 seconds back, we have Matthew Renan. He's also having a very good race at the moment, just cruising back there. And then in 3rd place, it's Jonathan Bentz. I've kind of expected he to have a bit more pace here tonight, but maybe we'll see it in race 2. Maybe he just hasn't come together in race 1. And Gerrit Bierkes is not too far back from Jonathan, so he's within striking distance, could possibly still get the podium. And Rian van der Westhuizen then is about 7 seconds back, and then we see that battle right behind. So this is the big battle at the moment, the 3 cars here, and they're slowly edging up towards Rian van der Westhuizen.
We did say that he is catchable as long as they don't hold each other up. That's the one point of the circuit where everybody seems to drift out onto the curbing, but I think as long as you keep the inside wheels, in this case to the left of the white line, then the system will let you go. There was the car taking a very, very wide line. That's Sean Olivier got into and out of that corner, but a different racing line than I would have expected. Julian Brains is defending for dear life from Rian van der Westhuizen, I think it is, or is that Rudy?
That's Rudy, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So, but it looks as though his car's not quite handling the way he would like it to be doing. He was also a bit further down and had to, no, he's the one that actually managed to avoid all the action ahead of him and take up a few positions. But certainly the one that has fought back, Emily in 8th position, 3.7 seconds behind Mornay. Mornay only 0.2 a second behind Sean. So that's the battle that we're watching now, that they actually are trying to catch up to. And it is so close. That's about the only, I wouldn't say noteworthy. That's the other one is Rudy van der Westhuizen behind Julian Brains. So that's 0.8 of a second. So Julian Brains gets to get the medal down. 1 minute to go. So I'm not sure where the race lead is. We haven't been looking at Jason at all. with about a minute to go, depending where he is. He might finish this lap and start one more, because if this is sixth position with 53 seconds to go, there's Jason and there's everybody behind him fighting out. Matthew Renaud is in second position, then Jonathan Benz, and we can see them all fighting for dear life. But you look at the gap that Jason Underwood, as we watch the clock tick down, is he going to start another lap?
That will be his final lap. He'll start now, yes.
Yeah, so that'll be the last lap then. And well driven from when the lights went out. He just put the foot down, got a demon start, and he mentioned it in one of the interviews earlier in the season that he just concentrated really on getting a good start and then holding everybody off for the first few corners and then trying to get a lead, and he's done exactly that tonight. So
battle going on between Johan and Harvey here at the back as well on the final lap. Two of them fighting for 12th and 13th.
it's good to see battles all the way down the field. The worst thing is if you go off the racetrack. I wonder, Jason, one of those tonight, once he got into the lead, he didn't actually have much to do. All he had to concentrate on is his own style of driving. Don't brake early, don't brake late, don't turn in too much, don't unsettle the car.
And that's going to bring him home for race one victory. That's it, the lap's over already.
Yeah. So well driven from start to finish by Jason Underwood.
And Matty will take second place.
He kept that as well from flag to flag. So well done to Matty. Jonathan had to fight to get back to third, because I think he was down a bit for a while. But Jonathan Benz, then for third position, Gerrit Beekes was lower down as well.
And look at this, Rihanna holding off the guys. Look, they've caught right up behind him. There's the three of them there. It's Sean right there. It's Monet right there. That's fantastic.
Yeah, great to see. Oh, and he, for just the showboating there, spins it past. Emily has taken 8th position, gone past. Julian Brains for 9th. Rudy van der Westhuizen for 10th. Stan Verstappen 11th. Johan Beekes will be 12th when they get across line. And Harvey Fosse and Caroline Jooster. So it looks as though that we did see in qualifying is all that made it to the start. Is 14 cars. And a great race that we have seen. More so in the middle of the pack than we did see it all for the lead, because eventually the win was by 4.1 seconds.
Yes. I'm just going to quickly save this other message here. Right, let's just do a quick save, and then we're going to jump to an ad break, and we'll be right back for race 2. So stay tuned. We'll see you shortly.
See you then.
Right, welcome back everybody. Of course you are joining us once again for the Sim Experience SA 2024 Mazda MX5 Cup, brought to you by the Safe Boys. Of course, this is now race 2 of our round 9 of the championship, coming to you live from the Brands Hatch INDY circuit. It's another 20 minutes race. We do have a different starting order from the drivers. So in pole position we have Rudy van der Westhuizen. So I'm sure that's Rudy's first pole position, so congratulations to Rudy. Right, the lights are about to go out as you wait for the drivers. Alright, we're away.
Right, let's see what does happen. It's Rudy van der Westhuizen, Julian Brains, Emily Ben, Sean Olivier, Rian van der Westhuizen. That's the top 5. But Julian Brains into second position, got the inside. Who's that coming and flying up on the inside of him? He certainly is going along, and I think that's Emily's car. So I think Emily got a flying start and up into second.
Oh, she's just been spun.
She spins it. I put the knockers on her. She's going to be all the way down to last because she'll have to reverse off the wall and the whole traffic. So second down to 14th, which is a moment of glory for Emily, but you've got to be in it to win it, and unluckily not so this time round.
Yeah, all sorts of action everywhere at the moment. Everyone's trying to avoid everyone else. Of course, with the mixed grid, you've got guys being squeezed together from different pace. Slowest guy at the front, the slowest out of the 10. He's going to bring the pack together, and the guys kind of end up avoiding action, and yeah, you've got to be very careful. And in these cars, you don't want to take avoiding action because the slightest avoiding action costs you so much time that you maybe lose a place or 2 places.
Sean Olivier is up into second from what I think was 4th. So he's on to Rudy van der Westhuizen like a rash and gets past him. So Sean Olivier, well driven up into the lead during lap 2, and now with all the battles that are raging behind him, is he going to be putting foot to the floor and getting away from this battle that's raging behind him?
Yeah, we've got Birkus coming through. He's got Jason Underwood on the one side, Matty on the other side, so 3 wide here. Oh, Ben's in front, a bit of contact, and unfortunately Matty ends up getting a bit of a slide.
Yeah.
I think that's just 3 into 1 doesn't go.
Yeah, and it was just a touch. He actually got a touch onto one of the other cars, but it wasn't enough to unsettle that car. But certainly Matty is not going to be enjoying being in 13th position. Emily is still going, and she's got Matty only just ahead of her. So Caroline Jooster is holding on for dear life in 12th position. Here's somebody on Gerrit Birkus.
It's Jason.
I just missed Jason, so I just missed the caption there. Remember, Jason is the race winner, so he started in 10th, and he's up into, where's he gone? 7th position already.
Yeah, he's got Gerrit right behind him at the moment, so Gerrit's just going to be watching slowly. Gerrit's got Stan Bezuidenhout right behind him, so Stan having a really good start.
Harvey Close has had a spin and drops down to 14th position.
Emily Bentz is getting past Caroline Jooster, so the 2 ladies together on track. That we don't see very often for position.
Yeah, she's not going to be happy with herself after that. And Rudy drops down, Rian drops down, I think it was Rian.
It was Rian,
yeah. So Rian and Rudy are now 9th and 10th. And your guess which is which.
Look at these guys swapping places side by side.
That's Gerrit with, is it Jason? And yeah, Jason, Gerrit, and Jonathan. So the 3 of them were the top 3, except for Matty. Matty didn't have a good start and spun, and he's in 14th. 1.2 seconds now behind Caroline Jooster. Harvey Close got going again. He's in 12th. Emily's back into 11th place, so he's fighting back from the back of the grid. But certainly we see middle of the pack from, what's it, Jason in 4th, Jonathan Benz in 5th, and Gerrit Birkus in 6th. Those are potentially race-winning cars finding themselves off the podium in this, the second race of the day.
Yeah, it just shows anything can happen. Don't ever give up.
Yeah. And I think 2 seconds already, Sean Olivier is ahead of Mornay, deploy. Jason Underwood up into 3rd, gets past Julian Brains. So well driven by Jason, and we'll wait and see. Yeah, there he goes in that white car. I'm just seeing he's got the lime green mirrors. I think his teammate has got yellow if I don't have my colors confused completely. Two identical cars. Here comes Julian. He's got the inside of the next corner, but I think Jason's passed just after left. The corner sweeps again away from Julian, so that's where Jason's going to make this count, and he just decides to hold on to that position and consolidate third position. 1.6 seconds behind Morne Deploy, who's 1.7 seconds behind Sean Olivier in the lead.
Yeah, now look at how the guys all just stick to each other into turn one. As they break, then the Constantino effect kicks in, sucks them all together.
Yeah, then the leading car gets on the throttle first and opens it up again. So yeah, they're trying to use the slipstream and dive, but the corner comes. Oh, is that Julian? That actually got an overtake there.
Nicely
It's
done by
Julian that
Jonathan.
got overtaken.
Yeah.
If that's such a nice. So,
Overtaken by Jonathan, yeah.
so Jonathan just had a demon on the brakes into that corner, and I don't think Julian expected him, because I think he would have closed off the corner before getting into it, but nonetheless, that's the way it goes. So Julian in fifth, Jonathan in fourth, and Jason in third ahead of them. The white car that you see there, ahead of Jason is Morne Deploy, and then Sean Olivier in the lead, way in the distance over there. Well, we say way in the distance, the gap is about the same between first and second as second and third. That's 1.2 between Sean and Morne, and 1.4, 1.5 between Morne and Jason. So Jonathan holding on. He's only 0.9 of a second behind Jason, but he's got everybody behind him that matters. Julian Brains is only 0.3 of a second, and Gerrit Beek is only 0.1 as Gerrit gets past Julian.
He makes it all wrong on the brakes there, goes between the two cars, thankfully avoids everyone.
And drops down to sixth position again.
I think just went for a move that was there and it just didn't quite work off, so maybe he just rolled off to avoid.
Yeah, which is the sensible thing to do. You still get points, at least, rather than dropping further down, but now he's got a big distance to catch up. Julian was off the circuit there. That's the one that we've seen in the previous heat as well, when I said, as long as you keep your left wheels on the circuit. I'm not sure that Julian had wheels on the circuit still, but nonetheless, nothing has popped up from what we can see. Julian in fifth position now, with Gerrit Beek in attendance.
Yeah, he's really hounding him, giving him a hard time.
Nice to see the rev counter here as well, so you can actually see where the guys do change, and they keep it in quite a narrow power band that they try and keep the revs up all the way, and they rev it. What is that? Is that a 5, 6 and a 7 there? So do these cars rev up to 7,000
Could be, yeah.
RPM? Sounds about right. So that's where the revs seem to wander. They seem to be consistently above 6, if that is a 6 at about the 1 o'clock position on the rev counter. Nice view of the cockpit there. So yeah, you also see the Flying Bumblebee in action. Unluckily for him, only in 6th position. What's the time? It's still almost 13 minutes to go, so a lot that can still happen. Morne is only 0.7 of a second behind Sean Olivier. So watch things potentially change. It's half the distance between first and second, and in saying that, Jason is also only 0.7 of a second behind Morne. So first to second and second to third has come down by half of what the gap used to be. So we can expect something to happen soon.
And Emily's making her way forward. She's in 9th. She's closing in on Rian van der Westhuizen as well. But Stan Bezuidenhout right in front of Rian, so he could potentially make her way up to 7th place.
Right, so everything worth fighting for right to the end. It's 12 laps still to go, at least. As we said, it's about a minute a lap, or it's actually under a minute a lap. So depending where the race leader is, it'll be at least 12 laps to go. And if the race leader is somewhere halfway down or already crosses the finish line with a few seconds to spare, then that will be the last lap. But we'll wait and see when that does come up in 11 minutes and 40 seconds.
11 hours around this track would be quite something.
Yeah, I tell you, you'd be covered in sweat. It would be, you'd have to be changing drivers. I'm not sure how much fuel these cars carry, so where to do it in these cars, and whether you'd be changing drivers every half an hour or so, because it'll be very, very hard work trying to do an endurance race on this circuit.
Definitely, yeah. Alright, as we see Jason hounding Morne Deploy for 2nd place at the moment.
Just trying to see where the race leader is in front of them.
Right in front of them.
Yeah, there's first, second. Well, what you're looking at is 3rd place, 2nd place, which is swinging the back end out. It just looks as though that car had stepped out and he'd sort of crossed it over and managed to keep it under control. But this is 3rd, looking at 2nd, and ahead of them is 1st place is Sean Olivier. Here comes Sean Olivier, Morne Deploy, Jason Underwood. And certainly Jason Underwood with the white car with the lime green rear view mirrors. He tried to do it on the corner there. He tucks up on the inside here. It sweeps left again. Has he made it? Is he going to consolidate? Yes, indeed he does. Second position, pretty much dusted. And it's going to, if he can just use the blocking line again, you go to the extreme right and then drift it onto the curves on the left and spit out to the right again. And he's just done it perfectly. But he's dragging Mornay with him. I tell you what, Sean Willifie is going to have a freight train in his boot pretty soon, because these guys are not giving it up.
And look in the background, we've got Jonathan Bence as well. Now, Jonathan Bence in the last lap did it 52.9. That's the same pace as what Mornay was doing ahead of them. Jason did a 52, but out in front we've got a 53.0. So they're actually a fraction faster than Sean. But if they start fighting now, the three-way battle at the front, that could bring Jonathan into play as well.
Yeah, certainly it can do. So what you're looking at there is first, second and third, and there's the fourth placed car coming along, Jonathan Benz. The green one, Julian Brains, he's in fifth position. So there's first, second, third. Look how close that is. There's fourth. The next car will be Julian, although it's a bit far away to see. That's the green one with a star on it. So Julian is driving consistently today, if anything else. So he had got 220, which is ninth position in race 1. So hopefully he'll have a better finish in race 2.
It looks like Rian's just been passed by Emily as well. So Emily's got past Rian van der Westhuizen and didn't see that. She's got Stan Bezade. Now, Stan having a good race too now. He's currently in 6th place.
Emily only 0.6 of a second behind Stan. So it looks as though she might get up as high as 6th position after that spin that she had into the barrier.
All changing at the front, positions swapping back and forward. I could see it on the timing screens. I came here and there we go. Jason's up the inside.
Well driven. And certainly he made the move neat and sweet, no risk involved in that at all. Now he's got enough time with 8 minutes 45 seconds to go to actually just get away from these guys. Are those back markers that they're aiming at already?
They are.
Is that Harvey and Caroline that's ahead of them?
It looks like it, yes. I think so with the red and white. It's definitely Caroline, yeah.
So now Jason will have to keep these two cars behind him and then pass Harvey and Caroline pretty neatly, and maybe even use the back markers to his advantage. The back markers, of course, are involved in their own race and racing two very different lines on the circuit. Let's see what Jason does with them. I think they'll probably be aware of the race leader coming through and will just stick to the line they're on and not provide any hindrance. Let's hope that's what happens. Oh, here's second and third, and there's a touch there, but certainly rubbing is racing, so they say Sean Willifie and Mornay deploy, and I think Mornay has decided, let me rather just finish this race rather than finish it in the grass.
Oh, I don't know. It's still a long way to go. 7.5 minutes at least. Let's see. I think Mornay is a bit more of a fighter. I don't think he's going to give up just yet. He will play it safe, but I think he might still just see maybe he can regroup, gather again, catch up to Sean and get a good move done on him. But he definitely got the nose cut off there.
Yeah, and the top 3 are past the back markers, so that's not a factor in their lives at the moment. Here comes, but there's one more back marker. I'm just trying to think who that is then. 11 seconds, is that Johan Beerkes maybe that they're aiming at now? Johan Beerkes was 11 seconds ahead of Harvey. So this might be Johan Beerkes' car, because here comes Jason, Sean and Mornay, and they're going to... That's Matty's car. What position is Matty in at the moment? Ninth. So this is Matty looking up at Rion and Stan.
Correct.
So that's also a battle in the midfield, but a close one nonetheless. And ahead of Stan is Emily Benz. So I think Emily Benz has passed all of them. Yeah, she comes along in the blue car with a solid blue bonnet, and then behind her is Stan Besaynout, Rian van der Westhuizen and Matthew Renault.
There's the battle brewing over here. So Jonathan Bence has indeed caught closer up to them. He's now a second off behind Mornay, whereas it was just over 2 seconds earlier. So as they're battling, Jason has unfortunately got away, but Jonathan's got closer to second, third and fourth.
It looks as though Jason, as we saw in the first race, once he's got his nose in the lead, he seems to, there's wheels on the grass. He actually got it wrong one corner earlier than that.
Was it Sean or was it maybe Harvey actually?
Yeah, so certainly it's Harvey close, I think it is. The wheels were off on the grass before that actual corner, and that was just the net result of it a little bit later. But if we look now, Sean Olivier, who's that spinning there? That's Matty.
Matty, yeah.
So he's in ninth. Luckily, well, he's not. Stan has got past him. He'll have to catch up to Stan all over again, because I think he passed Stan and then managed to get that spin done, and then Stan got past him again. Here comes Matty. Oh, they both touch again. And this time Matty gets out of it in one piece. He was on the outside of the circuit, outside of the racing line, so I'm not the judge of fact, so we only call it as we see it. It'll be up to the stewards to decide that, if there is any decision to be made at all.
It looked like Gerrit might have been involved in something, because he's also quite a lot further down than he was.
Yeah, Gerrit's not having a good... He's in 10th position, which means he's going to probably drop a few positions, because as it is, he only got 280 points in the first race, which is a fourth, which was okay. But this far down in race 2, look at how far ahead Jason Underwood is from Sean Williff and Mornay Deploy, fighting each other by 0.1 of a second for second and third. And as you said, Jonathan Ben's right there with them, and if they're going to make a mistake and take each other out, then Jonathan has a chance, which looks like they might even be doing. Jonathan Benz is up on the inside of them, so he has a very good chance of getting a podium finish, and I think as the points are structured at the moment, he has a podium finish potentially already, and if he were to go up to third, then he would be consolidated in a podium finish, and that would just be so much better for him. I think they're going to be cooling it down a bit now and not be rubbing as much, because we've only got 4 minutes to go, so that'll be 4 laps. Race leader, I think, is probably going to do 4 more laps, because if you come out of this, there's the race leader, goes across with 3 minutes 50, so I think it'll be 4 laps to go in this race. But certainly Jason Underwood, once he gets the nose in ahead, specifically for this circuit, he had quite a long battle to do, because he had to start from 10th, but got through everybody nice and smooth, some very, very good overtaking maneuvers, and now it didn't seem to be long ago that he'd made the pass, and already he's in the lead. If my number looks correct, he's at 3 or 5 seconds.
It is 3 seconds, yes.
3 seconds, yeah. So, but the second and third place, they are still very, very close. It's 0.2 of a second between Sean Willifier and Mornay Deploy. And here comes Jonathan.
And
so don't
just quickly, don't forget, at the back of our field, we still have a battle going on here between Caroline and Harvey. So Johan has managed to get away from them, so Johan's got a bit of a gap on them. But Caroline and Harvey still having a good battle, so no matter what position you're in, there seems to be someone to fight with.
Gerrit Beekers and Matty Renaud are fighting for 9th and 10th as well, with Gerrit in 10th, Matty in 9th. So that's also a battle. The Flying Bumblebee, there you see the black and yellow car and the yellow and black car, as we've described earlier. And they are just coming up to...
Oh, Jonathan's got past... Look here, Jonathan's got past Monet, but Monet's back up the inside. Oh, trying. Oh.
Very close, very close. So if Jonathan holds on to that position until the end of the race, I think that's potentially third, but I'm not sure with Matty so far down, that's going to jumble everything up again. So we'll have to wait and see what the final result is before making a forecast. There's also 2 abreast, 3 abreast. Are they getting past the back marker?
I think that's Johan, yeah, which was good.
Yeah.
Johan just kept it wide, and they could at least keep their momentum up, because I think that was going to be potentially very, very bad.
Yeah, and also the circuit is nice and wide. You can fit, well, as long as everybody gives each other a bit of room, you can probably put 4 cars next to each other, which is, I wouldn't say that's what happened there, but they were definitely 2 or 3 abreast, and he just stayed way out of the way, that back marker. So this is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Look how close that is, and just out of picture, as we looked up, we saw Jason go up the hill, and you'll probably see him here again, but he disappears out of view. He's so quick, there he is. Once he gets in the lead, he just makes sure that he can drive his own race, and nobody's going to harass him for that position.
Yeah, Sean must be thinking, geez, these cars are really large in my mirrors. Can't they go away?
So, yeah, Jason Underwood in the lead from Sean Willifield, Jonathan Benz and Mornay Deploy now relegated down to 4th position. But do you give up the slipstream? Do you give up the position? What do you do here? Do you fight? It looks as though everything stays the same. And yeah, so it does, but the cars are still very, very close. Yeah, you can't afford to make one mistake because you're going to lose a position immediately. And then you've also got to decide, are you going to attack, if you're Jonathan Benz, are you going to attack, oh, there's a spin there, that's, I think, Mornay. Yeah, so that leaves him out of the race for second, third, and fourth because he drops right off. Now, of course, Jonathan doesn't have to worry about Mornay behind him anymore, and he can concentrate on Sean Olivier ahead of him only. And is that potentially a chance for him to take second position?
Jonathan taking a wider line there. He's going to lose a bit of momentum and ground to the car. He might start to catch at the end of the straight, but that's definitely not the right line to take.
Yeah, if you look at the color on the tarmac as well, you're into all the rubber that everybody else has left behind. It's not the most grippy portion of the circuit, so definitely losing a car length or two, taking the wide line on the entrance of the front straight.
This is now the final lap as well.
We've been googling along so merrily we've forgotten about Jason. And Jason 5.5 seconds. Jonathan in third, Sean Olivier in second. So here comes the race leader. Oh, it says formation lap, but I'm sure it's the final lap.
Oh, yes, oops, finger trouble there. Apologies for that.
No problem.
Definitely not the fastest formation lap we've seen.
Yeah, 4 eyes always better than one. But certainly a great race by Jason Underwood coming from 10th position to take that first position about midway through the race, I think it was. And here comes the rest of them.
And Jonathan got second. He got him on the final corner.
Yeah, so maybe that line that he took the lap previously was just to sell him a dummy the next race. So Jonathan Benz second, Sean Olivier in third, Mornay Deploy taking fourth position. Well, he's not going to be too happy about that. Julian Brains, a very good fifth. Emily Benz, a very good sixth position. And then Rian van der Westhuizen into seventh position. Matty Renault, eighth. I think that's going to kill his podium potential, but we'll have to wait and see until the points come up, and then we'll add it into the spreadsheet and try and give you the results. Let's just wait for everybody to come across the line. There's Stan beside note. Rudy van der Westhuizen in 11th, Julian Brains in 12th.
Julian Brains was actually in 5th. It's Johan Beekes in 12th.
Oh, Johan Beekes, I'm getting that incorrect. So let me snip this and then we can do the points quickly. And it's certainly a well-run race. The second race kept us on our toes, certainly, and very, very interesting it was. So.
All right, so just to quickly run through this before we go to ad breaks. Jason Underwood in first, Jonathan Benz in second, Sean Olivier third, Mornay Deploy fourth, Julian Brains fifth, Emily Benz in sixth, Rian van der Westhuizen in seventh, Matthew Renan in eighth, Gerrit Beekes ninth, Stan Bezaidenhout in 10th, Rudy van der Westhuizen, then Johan Beekes, Javi Goos, and Caroline Joost. And we're going to be back shortly after an ad break. Stay with us, we'll see you then. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are, of course, at the completion of round 9, a penultimate round of the championship. This is the final race before the final race from Brands Hatch INDY circuit in the United Kingdom from Kent. We are joined with our top 3 drivers for the evening, which are in first place Jason Underwood, in second place Jonathan Benz, and in third place Matty Rhiannon, who hasn't yet joined us. I'm not sure if he will be joining us, but perhaps we can just start with Jason. Jason, a bit of a boring first race for you. Second race looked like it was quite exciting. The lap times, I think, were quite close across the field, but you seem to have a bit of a gap over second place. So once you got ahead, you were able to just pull away. But what was it like coming through the field, at least in race 2?
Yeah, race 2 was quite fun, actually. Getting through, starting 10th again, getting through the pack because of the small nature of the track. It's you had to. It was all about drive out of the corners. And the guys are fast up front, so you had to plan your overtake 2-3 corners ahead, pretty much like the last race meeting. But once I got past, then it was just to manage a bit of front left tire saving, because at the end of the race it was only on about 60%.
Wow.
But other than that, it wasn't too bad, I think. And obviously race 1, I got the jump at the start, and then I just tried to pull away as quickly as I could, and then just maintain it from there.
Oh, congratulations on that.
I think it's a full house, the first full house we've seen in this series, Dennis and Jason. P1 in qualifying, P1 race 1, P1 race 2. So well done, Jason.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And then in second place, Jonathan, a good round for you so far. Completed the round, so it's a good round for you. Some of the rounds you seem to have a good one race and then a bit of bad luck in the second race. You just don't get the overall. You sort of end up either 4th or 5th. But managing to get second overall tonight, a good solid round, good pace. You seem to have a really good race too. Lots of action-packed passing going on there. What was the races like for you? What was race 1 like for you versus race 2?
Well, race 1 is usually a little bit simpler because you qualify kind of in your pace position. So I benefited a bit from a few drivers tangling ahead of me, which obviously got me past a bit easier, because the pace is really close, like Jason said, and it's so close that it's only tenths and half tenths that you catch up on the guys ahead of you. So luckily there was a 15 kg penalty behind me, so I had to really focus to just slightly put some gap on the guy behind me, and Jason and without butchering his name, Rhiannon. Matty, they pulled away in race 1. There's nothing I could do about that. Race 2, starting slightly further back than I'm used to, because usually I have a bit of a shocking race 1 or whatever. Maybe I have an incident with somebody and then it knocks me out of position, and it's a whole fight back. But started quite far back in race 2, and it was actually really fun getting up through the field. Got a bit caught up there with Olivia and I can't recall who it was, but that was quite a battle there. And then
Sean Winky and Mornay deployed.
Yes, it was. And then luckily I found a little gap on Monet, and then Olivier was tough to get past. He defends hard. And there was a last corner overtake on him. I had a good momentum on there. There was a bit of paint scraping, so we'll see how that one turns out. But it was a good overtake.
It looked good, certainly from the stream. We saw you taking sort of the wide line, getting good momentum out. We saw the lap prior to that, you took a slightly deeper line in and squared it off. And Sean still said on the stream, well, perhaps that was a rehearsal for the final. Was it perhaps a final lap rehearsal?
Look,
Well, let me put it this way: was it an intentional or an unintentional rehearsal?
It was because I was seeing the opportunity on that corner with how he was taking it versus, and I mean, you can take that corner in 2 or 3 different ways. So I was trying to get a slingshot through and maybe get a good run into turn 1/turn 2, which kind of worked, but then he blocked me off in turn 2. So I, had to try for the last turn, and I made it look like I was going to go up on the inside, and he covered that off, which gave me a good line of momentum to cut on the inside of him. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Well,
I don't think he
congratulations.
thinks so, but it was cool.
Sean, do you want to ask the drivers any questions?
No, that one that you just mentioned now, that the lap before the last lap and then that overtaking maneuver is the one that I had for Jonathan. I just think some of the guys that aren't in the podium, just to give you guys an idea of how close things were for the day. First, second, and third was clear as a bell, so no problem with that. But Morna and Sean Olivier in joint fourth on 550 points. Karat Beekes, Rian van der Westhuizen then joint fifth on 500 points. And Emily Benz, Julian Brains then joint sixth on 480 points. So that's how close the total points for the day was. We have 3 sets of 2 drivers on the same points for the day. So other than first, second, and third, then there were 3 sets of 2 cars on the same amount of points. So certainly a great circuit. I really enjoyed the racing. Jason, send us the recipe for whatever you're drinking. And Jonathan, well driven. It was an interesting race, and I had a lot of fun. Thanks, Dennis.
Pleasure. Right, so then I'm just going to say thanks to all the drivers. Thank you, guys. I'm going to just kick you out briefly.
Cheers, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Jerry, thank you.
Right, I believe the drivers are gone. All right, so that of course brings us to the conclusion of round 9, which means next week we have Hockenheim National, which is a fantastic circuit. We have raced the actual Hockenheim circuit quite a lot. That we did in our pre-season testing, and it was quite fun. We decided to go with this just to spice it up a little bit. It means that we have a slightly more open hairpin, so there's not quite as much of a slowdown in speed. It will hopefully keep the cars together a bit. So if you know Hockenheim at all, the very first corner is very tight. Then you have a bit of a sort of S chicane, and then there's a hairpin. That hairpin, the third corner, that's the one that we're going to bring back slightly. So it means the hairpin is slightly earlier, and then it leads into the next corner much wider, which means they can carry more speed. That'll keep the cars together through that chicane and all the way through a lot more. And that's the only difference between this layout and the actual full Grand Prix layouts. The rest of it's the same. When they get to the stadium, all of that part of it is exactly the same. So that should flow a lot nicer. It should keep the cars together nicely, and it should make for a really, really exciting final round of the championship.
We look forward to it.
All right, so until next week, thank you very much to everyone for watching, and remember, if you enjoyed this, to hit the like and subscribe button. This, of course, is round 9, so we'll have round 10 next week, and that'll be the end of the championship. So thank you very much, of course, to the Safe Boys for making all of this possible. Remember to head over to www.thesafeboys.com. Give them a shout if you have any safe requirements, and you can give Johannes a shout. He can help you out there. Otherwise, until next week, have a great week, and we will see you all next week. Cheers,
Good night,
Sean.
everybody.